Hello everyone, welcome to FUOYE Press Media. Today we're going to be hosting an interview session for our newly elected LSS executives, and I'll be your host for today, Unita Yomide Obasun. So first on this session, we have the O1 of the Law Student Society. Please introduce yourself.
Good afternoon everybody, my name is Idowu Andrew Ojoayo. I'm the president of the Law Student Society, FUOYE Chapter. It's a privilege to be here.
Welcome on board.
Thank you very much.
So the first question for you is, what makes you qualified to be a representative of our choice?
Okay, like I said in my manifesto while I'm campaigning, contesting for this position, I made mention of the fact that the LSX has a foundation already, but we're in need of a leader who can build on this foundation, and I believe I'm the best candidate for this job. So I've been in the system one way or the other for the last 3 years, so I believe that being involved, being part of the system, I feel the best candidate for the job.
So being the best candidate for the job, what do you intend to achieve within the next 6 months in office?
Okay, so it's important that I say this, that the main focus or the main purpose of this administration, as stated in my manifesto, is to create an operating environment where everybody can do great things. Like I said, LSS just has a foundation. We're here to build. So within the next 6 months, a lot of changes will be happening academically, socially, and in terms of sports. So we plan on making LSS bigger. The aim is to make it the biggest chapter in Ekiti. Then we'll focus on getting it bigger globally.
All right then. Now, Mr. President, what would you do if you discovered an instance of corruption within the LSS executives? Okay,
first of all, let me say that I believe that all my executive members are people of good character. I don't expect such things to happen. First of all, secondly, if something like that should happen, it breaks the professional code of conduct. Something like that should not even be in this profession.
All right.
So when we have a situation like that, what we do is to obviously recommend the person to the house for suspension. If we are to do it in a very polite way, we request for the person's resignation immediately, because that will never be allowed.
All right, thank you for coming on the session. We appreciate your presence.
It's been my privilege. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Next on the session, we have the O2 of the Law Student Society. Please introduce yourself.
Good afternoon. My name is Sonia Olumosope Foluwa Indamola, and I'm the Vice President of the Law Student Society.
All right, your first question is, what are the milestones that the LSS has achieved so far, and how do you think we can improve?
Okay, first and foremost, I want to commend the last administration.
All right.
My predecessor really did well, and they laid a solid foundation for me. So I'm taking over and trying to continue on that foundation built. Firstly, one of the things that I know that they did well was in terms of academics, because my own position is mainly academics, was tutorials. My predecessor was organizing tutorials. However, my own major goal now is to make that tutorials more constant than it was before. So we introduced the initiative of tutorials for every weekend for every level, including the highest or apex level in the school. So another major achievement or milestone that they had was creation of the LSJC. So me and my administration actually wants to take that a step further by making periodic debate competitions, periodic moot and mock competitions, in order to stabilize and make the Law Student Society more effective, because a Law Student Society without periodic moot and mock competitions, because moot and mock is basically one of the most solid foundation that law students are supposed to have.
Right.
And also another major aspect in which my predecessors worked in was during their law week. They had a whole lot of activities. So we are here to promise and make sure that we would continue in that tradition and also make it better for the set to come. Our administration promised that our law week would be one that generations after would come and testify to.
Right.
So thank you.
Now, being the vice president of the Law Student Society, how do you intend to approach an executive who has been slacking in their duties?
Oh, okay. As the vice president, one thing I want us to note that the Law Student Society executives, we are a family.
Right.
And if someone is actually slacking, well, I would first approach the person and try to talk to the person, because as law students, we face a whole lot.
Right.
Our academics is tasking. So I would approach the person and ask, maybe they are having issues personally. And if I find out that the person is slacking just because the person wants to slack, I would have to take it a step further, inform the fellow executives, and then if the person needs to be maybe suspended or the person needs time off, we would approach the house and pitch it before the house. But first and foremost, I will try to find out what exactly the problem is.
All right. Thank you very much for being on this session.
Thank you very much.
We appreciate your presence.
Thank you.
Please introduce yourself.
My name is Victoria Oluwafikayo Anyetoye, and I'm the General Secretary for the Law Student Society FUOYE Chapter.
Right. So, being the General Secretary of the Law Student Society, what has been the hardest part of your job so far?
As an executive, I think I have to put the interest of the members first, which has been time consuming.
All right. So what makes you qualified to be our representative, to be in the position of the General Secretary?
I am experienced and competent, and currently I am functioning as the campus director for Legal Ideas Forum International, which is known as LIFIN.
Right. Thank you. So how would you describe yourself in just 3 words?
Okay, I think I would describe myself as smart, intelligent, and beautiful.
Smart, intelligent, and beautiful. That's nice. Thank you for your time. We appreciate your presence.
The pleasure is mine.
So next on this session, we have the sports director of the Law Student Society. Please introduce yourself.
Okay, I am Oladunyayo DJ Victor, the sports director of FUOYE Law Society.
All right. So being the sports director of the Law Student Society, how has your experience been so far, being an executive?
So, in short, like a sum total of my experience, it has been a bit like intense in that we have to find a way of making more people to engage in sporting activities within the society itself.
All right then. Now, the next question: what do you aim to achieve being the sports director of the Law Student Society? What do you aim to achieve in the next 6 months?
Okay, concerning the achievements, we look forward to like moving forward in other sports like and integrating newer sports like indoor games like chessboard, Scrabble, and other indoor games into our activities.
So, being the sports director of the Law Student Society, what do you aim to achieve within the next 6 months?
So, within the next 6 months, we are planning on incorporating newer sports into our curriculum for sports.
Right.
So, we'll be integrating Scrabble, chess, and other sports. And we have also made laudable achievements in chess and Scrabble, where during the SUG Fresher Cup, we came third in both chess and Scrabble.
Alright. Okay, so what is your plan for the engagement of female law students in sports?
So as to the engagement of female law students in sports within the society, we have already started with integrating females into sports. Our Scrabble team is composed mostly of females. We have the chess the chess team is also composed of a high percentage of females, and we also have the football team for ladies, and they will also be engaging in sporting activities.
Thank you very much for being on the session. We appreciate your presence.
Yeah, thank you very much.
So here with me on this session is
good afternoon everyone. My name is Adebisi Adetunji. I'm the Assistant General Secretary of the LSS FUOYE Chapter.
Okay, so being the Assistant General Secretary, what has been the hardest part of your job so far?
Okay, so I think the responsibility aspect is like the most taxing part of being the executive, like having to balance your responsibilities with your academics is
Yes.
like the most taxing part for me.
Right, thank you. So, can you describe yourself in just 3 words?
Okay, so I would say I'm hardworking,
Right.
ambitious, and driven.
All right, thank you very much for your time. Introduce yourself.
Hi everyone, my name is Ninis Winifred Chinwaku. I am the Treasurer of the Law Student Society FUOYE Chapter.
Right, so being the treasurer of the Law Student Society, what has been the hardest part of your job so far?
The pressure, trying to deliver, and there's like very little time, trying to spend funds in like reasonable manners, risk management, everything. Pressure is just basically the hard part of it so far.
All right, so how do you intend to generate revenue for the Law Student Society?
Yeah, so one of the ways I plan to generate funds for LSS is by partnering with different firms,
Right.
not limited to law students, law firms rather, and every firm, in fact, every firm at all. So we're going to reach out to firms to partner with them. But like the first step is taking LSS fully out there on social media platforms and all of that, so that those big firms that want to partner with us can see that we're actually on our social media platforms. And another way is magazines. We could do our own FUOYE magazines, our LSS magazines, and we can sell it to, like, it can be sold to like every FUOYE student. It's not limited to just law students. Then look at mock trials and competitions. We can get funds by winning them. Yeah.
Right. Now, being the treasurer, how do you intend to handle an instance of corruption within the society?
Okay, so with respect to the constitution, when things like this are found, especially where monetary, it implicates me as treasurer and also the financial secretary. So, for instance, if let's say an executive is found, at the instance of corruption, like you said,
Yes.
so what we just do, if the president is not involved, I report to the president, and then the president takes it up to, like, the LSRC. Yeah.
Right. All right. Thank you so much for your time.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Introduce yourself.
I am Adetunji Itola Elizabeth, the Welfare Director of LSS FUOYE Chapter.
All right. Now, being the welfare director, what has been the hardest part of your job so far?
I would say that is navigating between my personal time, my official duty, and academics. That's been very difficult.
All right. Now, what new innovation as the welfare director do you plan to introduce to the Law Student Society?
Okay, so I have some priorities. The first one is establishment of the welfare committee. So this committee is going to comprise of representatives from all the levels, and these representatives are going to represent the interests of their class in the committee. Then secondly is helping the LSS to maintain their mental health by regularly dropping write-ups on Monday on the general group. So I named that Mental Health Monday. Then the next one is visitation committee. So the visitation committee is going to comprise of each class governor and their deputy, and they work together with me to pay doorstep visitation to students that are absent in school due to mental health issues, sicknesses, and
So, as a welfare director, what new innovation do you plan to introduce into the Law Student Society?
Okay, so I have some priorities. So the first one is establishment of the welfare committee. The welfare committee is going to comprise of representatives from each level, and these representatives are going to represent the interests of their level in the committee. The second one is helping the LSS member to promote their mental health. So that I am going to post write-ups containing information on how to improve your mental health on the general LSS group. So I named that Mental Health Monday. Then the third one is visitation committee. So this committee will pay doorstep visitation to people that are absent from school due to health issues, sicknesses, and every other reason. So far I've been able to achieve the establishment of the welfare committee and the Mental Health Monday.
All right, thank you very much. Thank you for your time.
Thank you for having me.
Please introduce yourself.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Akimbobo Yolamide. I'm the LSS Social Director.
All right.
Yeah.
Now, being the social director, what has been the hardest part of being in that position?
The hardest part of being the social director is I'm trying to balance my academics with the social activities. and it's actually a call of duty. You want to do it and you have to sacrifice your time, and it has not been easy, but I'm trying to, and God give me more strength to go on with this.
Amen. Now, what do you aim to accomplish within the next 6 months in office?
Within my next 6 months, I want to organize more social activities. Law students, I think the only social activities we've been having is only our law dinner.
Yes.
And I plan on organizing more social activities aside law dinners. For example, we even had one social activity last week, Sunday, which is a carol party titled Uta Tuta Bianca. That is a all-white party, and it was fun.
Yes, it was. All right, thank you very much for your time.
You're welcome.
Please introduce yourself.
My name is Ibrahim Abdullah Dekileko, the PRO LSS FUOYE Chapter.
All right, now being the public relations officer of the LSS, what has been the hardest part of your job so far?
I think that will be balancing the executive work with that of your academics. Yeah, I think everybody has that kind of difficulties actually.
Yes, it's common. Yeah. All right, now we want the LSS to be accessible to the executives of the LSS. So how do you plan to go about it, being the public relations officer?
Accessibility is the key to my post as a PRO. We've been working to establish or to create multiple communication channels, and I strive to be very responsive as a QB, so that anytime they need anything, they can get through me. I'm just the mouthpiece for them and the faculty.
All right, thank you so much for your time.
You're welcome. Thank you for having me.
Please introduce yourself.
My name is Ogunpegi Johnson, the Financial Secretary of the Law Student Society.
All right, being the Financial Secretary of the Law Student Society, what has been the most difficult part of your job?
Well, I have to say it has been very tasking, very tasking, and the fact that I have to just learn how to balance things. So I think that has been the most difficult aspect.
All right then. So what strategies do you have in place in order to increase the LSS revenue?
Well, I as myself and the residents, we have plans in place to speak with firms and prominent lawyers and other people, NGOs including, to seek for revenue and funding for the LSS.
All right, beautiful. So what would you do in an instance where you discovered slight corruption within the LSS executive?
Well, I want to believe that none of my fellow executives are capable of being corrupt, but if such instance occurs, I would call the person out. I believe it is one of my duties to blow the whistle.
Be accountable.
Yeah, exactly. To be accountable for the LSS in general.
All right, thank you very much for your time. We appreciate your presence.
All right.